See it like this: a single line of track running across 100 miles of empty country, one rail, one path, and somewhere out there, two freight trains, each 1.5 miles long, each weighing 15,000 tons, are running toward each other on that exact same piece of steel, head-on, closing at a combined 100 miles an hour. Neither engineer can see more than a mile ahead. Neither train can stop in under a mile. And they do not hit. They never hit. Day after day, thousands of times, all across the country, trains share the same track, and somehow do not smash into each other. Ask most people how that works, and they will shrug and say the driver just steers around it. But a train cannot steer. It is bolted to the rail. It cannot swerve. It cannot pull over. It can only go forward or backward on the one line it is on. So how do two trains use the same track and live? The answer is one of the most quietly brilliant systems ever built, and it is running right now under every railroad in America, completely invisible to you. Before we get into it, hit subscribe and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We want to know who's out there. Start with the problem, because you have to understand how bad it really is. A loaded freight train cannot stop quickly. We are talking about a mile, sometimes 1.5 miles, to bring one to a halt from track speed. That is longer than the engineer can see, especially at night in fog or around a curve. By the time you can see the other train, it is already far too late to do anything about it. Railroaders have a grim name for this. They call it the brick wall problem. If there is a stopped train just around the bend, you will come around that bend and hit it like a brick wall because there was never enough room to stop. Your eyes are useless. Seeing the danger does not save you. So from the very beginning, railroads understood one hard truth. You cannot run a railroad by sight. You have to run it by a system that keeps trains apart before they can ever get close enough to see each other. And the first version of that system did not use a single wire or light. It used a clock. It was called the timetable. Every train had a schedule, and that schedule was law. This train is here at this minute. That train waits over there on a side track until the first one passes. The two trains would be scheduled to meet at a specific place, a passing siding, and this was called a meet. One train pulls into the siding, waits, the other rolls by on the main line, and only then does the first one pull back out. Neither train was allowed to move until it knew for certain the other had arrived. On paper, it worked. But the timetable had a fatal weakness. The second a train was late, the whole plan fell apart. If the train you were supposed to meet never showed up on time, what did you do? Wait forever? Go and risk a head-on. So they added a second layer, the train order. A dispatcher sitting in a central office would send instructions down the line by telegraph, tapped out in Morse code, to operators sitting in little stations along the track. Those operators wrote the orders on paper and handed them up to the crews of passing trains, sometimes on a long hoop stick so the train did not even have to stop. Take the siding at Miller. Wait for the eastbound. Hold until noon. The train order let the dispatcher override the timetable and adjust for reality. And for 100 years, that combination, timetable and train orders, is what kept trains apart. It also killed people, because it depended entirely on human beings not making mistakes. A misheard order, a misread time, and two trains ended up in the same place. The history of railroading is full of terrible head-on collisions caused by exactly that. The real breakthrough came from something almost nobody has heard of. In 1872, a man named William Robinson invented the track circuit, and this is the piece of genius that changed everything. Here is how it works, and it is beautiful. A low-voltage electric current is fed through the two rails of a section of track. As long as that section is empty, the current flows freely from one rail to the other, through a device at the far end, and that completed circuit holds a signal showing green, clear. But the moment a train rolls onto that section, the steel wheels and axles connect the two rails and short the circuit out. The current takes the shortcut through the train instead. The signal loses its power and drops to red. The train, just by being there, automatically announces itself. It cannot help it. Its own weight and steel throw the signal to red behind it. And here is the truly clever part. The system is built so that anything going wrong defaults to danger. A broken rail. The circuit breaks, the signal goes red. A power failure? Red. A flaw in the equipment? Red. It is called fail-safe, and it means the system's natural resting state, when anything at all is uncertain, is stop. It would rather stop a train that could have gone than let one go that should have stopped. Now put those track circuits end to end down the whole line, and you have divided the railroad into blocks. Each block is a section of track guarded by signals, and the ironclad rule is simple. Only one train in a block at a time. The blocks are made long enough that a train always has room to stop before it reaches the one ahead. This is automatic block signaling, the invisible skeleton of the entire railroad. Those signals you see standing beside the tracks, the colored lights on the masts, they are not decoration and they are not traffic lights for cars. They tell the engineer the condition of the track ahead. Green, the blocks ahead are clear. Yellow, get ready to stop, the next block is occupied. Red, stop, there is a train in there. And there are two kinds of these signals, which matters enormously. A permissive signal, if it is red, means stop and then proceed slowly, prepared to find something ahead. But an absolute signal, when it is red, means stop and stay stopped. You do not move past it for any reason until the dispatcher personally gives you permission. Those absolute signals guard the switches at the ends of sidings, the exact places where two trains meet. They are the locked door between a safe meet and a head-on collision. Then, in 1927, it all came together. On a stretch of the New York Central, the railroads installed the first centralized traffic control. Now a single dispatcher sitting in a room that works like an air traffic control tower could see every train on a giant illuminated map and throw the switches and set the signals for 100 miles of railroad from one panel. That dispatcher decides which train takes the siding and which takes the main. He lines the switch, he clears the signal, and the whole meet happens under his control, remotely, before the two trains ever lay eyes on each other. The trains just obey the lights. Today, it goes even further. After a terrible head-on collision in Chatsworth, California in 2008 that killed 25 people because a crew ran a red signal, the government forced the railroads to install positive train control. It is a system that does not trust the human at all. If an engineer misses a stop signal and keeps going toward danger, the computer takes over and stops the train itself automatically, whether the engineer likes it or not. So that is the answer. Two trains share the same track and do not crash because underneath the whole railroad runs an invisible nervous system. The clock that started it, the dispatcher who directs it, the track circuit that lets every train announce itself, the blocks that keep them apart, the signals that speak the condition of the rail, and now the computer that stops the train when the human fails. You will never see it working. That is the whole point. When it does its job, absolutely nothing happens. Two trains pass in the night on the same line, a mile apart, and roll on into the dark. And neither engineer ever even sees the danger that 100 years of hard, bloody lessons quietly reached out and prevented.